Welcome back to our channel. Small but mighty, see how one penny can make a big impact on your life. In 1990, a penny was just a penny. Most people didn't think twice about it as it jingled in their pockets or rolled around in their purses. But, as with many seemingly ordinary objects, some pennies have a hidden history. Among them, the 1990 USA 1-cent penny stands out in a way that could surprise even the most seasoned coin collectors. It's a piece of American history, but more than that, it's a rare, valuable item that tells a fascinating story of how something so common can become extraordinary. Now, you might wonder, what makes a penny from 1990 so special? After all, the US has minted billions of them over the years, and it's easy to overlook one that might seem like just another drop in the ocean. But if you dig a little deeper, you'll find that the 1990 penny isn't quite as ordinary as you might think. To truly appreciate its uniqueness, we need to step back and understand a bit about the design of the US penny and the era it was minted in. The design of the penny, first introduced in 1909, has seen only a few changes throughout its long history. The most iconic design features Abraham Lincoln's profile on the obverse, created by sculptor Victor David Brenner. This design, known as the Lincoln wheat ears reverse, was in use until 1958. From that point on, the reverse was changed to what we now recognize as the Lincoln Memorial design, which was used from 1959 all the way up to 2008. Fast forward to 1990. The US Mint was still producing pennies with the Lincoln Memorial design, and millions of them were circulating in everyday transactions. To most people, a penny from that year would just blend in with the others, a small and often disregarded part of their change. However, there were small production anomalies during that year that began to pique the interest of collectors. In the 1990s, coin collecting was undergoing a resurgence. The hobby had always been popular, but the rise of the internet made it easier than ever for collectors to communicate, share knowledge, and, most importantly, trade coins. This led to a wave of discoveries as people started to spot rare and unusual coins in their pocket change, coins that had somehow slipped through the cracks of everyday circulation. One of the most notable features of the 1990 penny is its striking detail and relatively high-quality strike. Coins minted in the late 1980s and early 1990s were often known for their fine quality, as the US Mint had made strides in improving the minting process to combat issues like wear and tear. But, as is the case with any mass production, sometimes there were slight errors, imperfections, or rare instances where certain pennies were created with unique characteristics. These anomalies are what led to the penny's reputation among collectors. Over the years, collectors began to search for specific characteristics, like die varieties, minting errors, or even unusual wear, that could set certain coins apart from the rest. The 1990 penny became part of this ongoing search for hidden gems. While not every penny from that year is worth a fortune, a few specific examples have made their mark in the world of numismatics. One of the most notable types of 1990 pennies that sparked interest was a unique variety of double die pennies. These coins are a result of a specific error during the minting process, where the die used to strike the coin is misaligned, causing the image on the coin to appear doubled. This type of error is relatively rare, but when it does occur, it can cause the value of a coin to skyrocket. The double die pennies from 1990 became highly sought after by collectors, as the error was both fascinating and beautiful. The beauty of the double die penny lies in the clear distinction of the doubled features, especially in the lettering on the coin's obverse. If you hold one of these pennies under a magnifying glass, you'll see the faint but unmistakable doubling of the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. For coin collectors, spotting such an error is like finding a hidden treasure. It's a perfect example of how something that seems so small can have a massive impact on the value of a coin. In addition to double die pennies, the 1990 penny also saw some interest due to its role in the larger context of US coinage at the time. In the 1990s, the US was still using pennies made primarily of copper, and this would change just a few years later, in 2000, when the mint switched to a predominantly zinc composition for pennies. Because the 1990 penny was made with a higher copper content, it was part of a limited time in US history when pennies were still made with this material. This composition, along with the fact that copper pennies are often seen as being more durable and beautiful, made the 1990 penny a favorite among collectors who were drawn to the aesthetic appeal of these older copper coins. The value of a 1990 penny depends on several factors, including its condition, rarity, and the presence of any minting errors or unique characteristics. Most 1990 pennies, of course, aren't worth much more than their face value. But if you're lucky enough to come across a rare variety, especially one with an error or unique feature, the value can be significantly higher. The 1990 penny that would go on to attract the most attention and reach a jaw-dropping price is a specific variety of the double die error penny, one that was discovered through careful inspection and a bit of luck. This particular penny, in pristine condition, was able to fetch an unbelievable price at auction. For coin collectors, this was a moment of triumph. It showed how, with the right combination of rarity, error, and condition, even a seemingly ordinary penny could become an extraordinary collector's item. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the value of the 1990 penny that turned heads and stunned collectors. After months of speculation and eager anticipation, the 1990 penny with the famous double die error finally went up for auction, and it sold for an astonishing $126,000. That's right, $126,000 for a penny that most people would never think twice about tossing into a jar. So, the next time you find a penny in your pocket, don't be so quick to dismiss it. You might just be holding onto a small piece of history. The 1990 penny is a perfect example of how rare, valuable items can sometimes be hidden in the most unlikely places, just waiting for someone with the right knowledge and passion to discover them. And who knows? Maybe the next valuable coin you find will be the one that makes you the talk of the numismatic world. The story of the 1990 penny is a reminder that in the world of collecting, even the smallest objects can have the most extraordinary value. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just someone with a passing interest, it's always worth taking a closer look at the coins in your change. Who knows what hidden treasures might be just around the corner, waiting to be discovered. The year 1999 might seem like a simple, unassuming year when it comes to US coinage, but when you take a closer look, you'll realize that one small penny from that year holds a story that's rich with history, intrigue, and, most surprisingly, immense value. While the 1999 penny might appear to be just another 1-cent coin in the pocket change of millions of Americans, the truth is, some of these pennies are anything but ordinary. If you dig deeper into the fascinating world of coin collecting, you'll uncover the hidden treasures of the 1999 1-cent penny, a coin that has become a prized possession for numismatists, collectors, and enthusiasts alike. Now, most people wouldn't give a second thought to a penny. After all, pennies are often dismissed as little more than a nuisance, coins that weigh down our pockets, take up space in jars, and rarely seem to hold any real significance. However, in the world of coin collecting, even the most mundane objects can carry significant value. The 1999 penny, with all its historical context and unique traits, is one such coin that challenges the idea that smaller is less valuable. To truly appreciate why the 1999 penny has gained such attention, we first need to understand the history of the US penny and the context of the late 20th century. The US penny, also known as the 1-cent coin, has undergone numerous changes since it was first introduced in 1793. Over the centuries, the penny's design has evolved, reflecting changes in both the nation's aesthetic preferences and its historical moments. By 1999, the penny had been through a few notable design changes, the most iconic of which is, of course, the image of President Abraham Lincoln that has graced the obverse front of the coin for more than a century. This design was first introduced in 1909 by sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it remains a beloved feature of U.S. coinage. What's remarkable about the 1999 penny is that it represents a unique point in the penny's history, a transitionary moment between the older designs and newer, more experimental changes that would arrive in the coming years. In 1999, the U.S. Mint was still producing pennies with the traditional Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. This design had been in place since 1959, when it replaced the iconic wheat stalks that had adorned the reverse of the penny for several decades. The Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, is an image of the historic memorial in Washington, D.C., and it has become one of the most recognizable symbols on U.S. coins. However, there was a shift in the air during this time. The late 1990s saw a growing interest in revisiting and revising U.S. coin designs, with the penny being a key subject. As we approached the turn of the millennium, the U.S. Mint was beginning to contemplate changes that would mark the upcoming 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth in 2009. This period of reflection and rethinking led to several exciting developments in the world of coin design, including the famous Centennial series that would begin to appear in 2009. Yet, in 1999, this shift hadn't happened yet. What makes this particular penny interesting is that it was minted during a time of great anticipation for these future changes. Little did anyone know at the time, some of the 1999 pennies would go on to be among the most highly sought after and valuable coins in the entire history of the United States. As with all coins, the value of a penny is typically determined by a few key factors: its rarity, its condition, its historical significance, and the presence of any minting errors. Most of the 1999 pennies are, of course, worth only 1 cent, just like any other penny. But within that large mintage, there are a handful of unique examples that have captured the attention of collectors. These particular coins are special for various reasons, from rare errors to simple but highly desired characteristics that make them stand out from the rest. One of the most significant features of the 1999 penny is the fact that it was part of the last group of pennies made with a higher copper content before the U.S. Mint switched to a predominantly zinc composition in 2000. This change in the penny's composition is often regarded as an important moment in U.S. numismatic history, as it marked the end of an era for one of the country's most iconic coins. The 1999 penny, with its higher copper content, remains a favorite among collectors who appreciate the rich color and durability of the older, copper-based pennies. However, it's not just the composition that sets the 1999 penny apart. The rarity of certain 1999 pennies is what truly makes them highly prized among collectors. The most coveted among them are those that exhibit specific minting errors, which can significantly increase their value. As with any mass-produced item, there are occasional mistakes during the minting process that lead to rare and unique coins. In the case of the 1999 penny, some pennies were produced with minor errors, such as off-center strikes, die cracks, or even more pronounced issues, like the infamous wide AM variety. The wide AM variety of the 1999 penny is perhaps the most famous of these minting errors. This particular error occurs when the letters A and M in the word America on the reverse of the penny are spaced unusually far apart. Normally, these letters are close together, but in the case of the wide AM variety, the spacing is noticeably wider. This small difference might seem insignificant to the untrained eye, but to an experienced collector, it's a treasure trove of potential value. The wide AM pennies are highly sought after, as they represent an anomaly in the minting process that makes them incredibly rare. Now, you might be thinking, it's just a penny. How much could it possibly be worth? Well, you'd be surprised. While most 1999 pennies are worth just 1 cent, certain error varieties, particularly the wide AM pennies, have sold for incredible amounts. In fact, the rarest and most pristine examples of these error pennies have been known to fetch impressive sums in the world of coin collecting. The value of a 1999 penny can vary depending on its condition, but one of the most exciting examples is the wide AM penny that captured the imagination of collectors around the world. In 2016, a 1999 penny with the wide AM error, graded in excellent condition, sold for an eye-popping $120,000. Yes, you heard that right, $120,000 for a penny. For most people, that would be an unimaginable sum to pay for something that was originally worth just 1 cent. So, how does a coin like the 1999 penny go from being part of everyday change to being worth a small fortune? It's all about rarity, demand, and, of course, the story behind it. Coins with errors or unique features are highly sought after because they tell a story, one that reflects the fascinating and sometimes unpredictable world of coin minting. The 1999 penny, in all its modesty, serves as a perfect example of how an ordinary object can transcend its original purpose and become a rare artifact of numismatic history. In the world of coin collecting, finding a rare or valuable coin is often a matter of chance. The 1999 penny, though seemingly just another penny, has earned its place among the most coveted coins in the U.S. Mint's history. For collectors, owning a 1999 penny with a rare minting error is like holding onto a piece of living history, an object that not only carries immense value but also tells a captivating story of craftsmanship, imperfection, and discovery. So, the next time you come across a 1999 penny, remember this story. It might just be an ordinary coin, but with a little luck, it could be something much more. The 1999 penny serves as a reminder that, in the world of numismatics, even the smallest and most seemingly insignificant objects can hold immense value, as long as they have the right combination of rarity, condition, and story behind them. And now, after all this build-up, it's time to reveal the stunning truth behind the value of the 1999 penny. The specific penny that fetched a staggering $120,000 was not just any ordinary coin, it was one with a rare, wide AM error, and in impeccable condition. It became the crown jewel of any coin collection. So, next time you find yourself sorting through your loose change, don't be so quick to dismiss the humble penny. You never know, the one you're holding in your hand might just be worth a small fortune. The year 2000 was a monumental time in the history of the United States. New millennium celebrations, technological advancements, and a turning point for a particular object that most people wouldn't think twice about, the humble 1-cent penny. While the penny is often regarded as a small, insignificant coin, the 2000 penny is far from ordinary. In fact, it's a coin that holds a unique place in the world of numismatics, a coin that tells a fascinating story about change, both literal and figurative. In American Coinage.to truly appreciate the significance of the 2000 penny, we need to look at the historical context surrounding its creation. By the turn of the century, the U.S. Mint had already gone through several notable changes in both the design and the materials used for its coins. The penny, specifically, had undergone numerous transformations over the years, from the early days of the Flying Eagle and Indian head pennies to the more recognizable Lincoln cent that debuted in 1909. But the 2000 penny stands out as a part of a larger shift that would shape the future of American currency. In 2000, the United States Mint was still producing pennies with a high copper content. However, by this time, there was growing concern about the rising cost of copper and the increasing cost of minting pennies. These concerns would eventually lead to the U.S. Mint's decision to change the composition of the penny in 1982, replacing a large percentage of the copper with zinc. By the year 2000, the penny was predominantly composed of zinc, with just a thin copper plating on the outer layer. This change in composition marked the beginning of a new era in penny production, an era that would impact the way pennies looked, felt, and were valued. However, it's not just the material composition of the 2000 penny that makes it noteworthy, it's the design as well. The reverse side of the penny had been showcasing the Lincoln Memorial since 1959. This design, created by Frank Gasparo, was a tribute to the 16th President of the United States and was a fitting symbol for the penny, which had featured Lincoln's portrait on the obverse since 1909. But in 2000, the penny was poised to undergo another major change. This year would see the last year of the Lincoln Memorial reverse before the debut of a new design that would commemorate the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. While this change in design wasn't immediate for the 2000 penny, it was an important moment in coin history because it marked the transition into a new era of American coinage. The 2000 penny, therefore, is a key part of a period of innovation and redesign in U.S. currency. But even beyond its historical significance, the 2000 penny has become a beloved piece for collectors. And not just for its status as a collector's item, but because, like many other pennies before it, the 2000 penny, especially certain rare varieties, has become an object of great value. Now, most 2000 pennies are worth exactly what they were minted for, 1 cent. After all, these coins are so common that they are practically ubiquitous in everyday transactions. But as with any mass-produced item, there are anomalies, rare varieties, and minting errors that make certain examples stand out from the rest. These errors can range from small, almost imperceptible flaws to more dramatic, striking differences that set them apart from the millions of other pennies produced that year. And it's these rare coins that attract the attention of collectors and can lead to staggering prices. One of the most famous varieties of the 2000 penny is the so-called close AM and wide AM error. You see, the reverse side of the 2000 penny features the inscription E pluribus unum around the edge of the Lincoln Memorial. The letters A and M in America are key points to look for in identifying a particular variety. In some cases, the spacing between these two letters is wider than normal. This is the wide AM variety. In other cases, the letters are much closer together, creating the close AM error. The close AM variety is particularly rare and desirable because it represents a distinct error in the die used to strike the coin. It's a mistake that occurred during the minting process, leading to an unusually tight spacing between the letters A and M. To the untrained eye, this might seem like a small detail, but to collectors, it's a key feature that can make the difference between a coin that's worth a penny and one that's worth a small fortune. Finding a 2000 penny with this error can be a game changer for collectors. While most 2000 pennies are worth just their face value, those with the close AM or wide AM varieties can command prices that far exceed their 1 cent value. For example, a pristine, close AM, 2000 penny has been known to sell for tens of thousands of dollars. These coins, which are rare and hard to come by, have become highly sought-after collectibles, driving up their market value considerably. Another factor that contributes to the appeal of the 2000 penny is its status as the last year before the U.S. Mint changed the composition of the penny. As mentioned earlier, the Mint switched from using primarily copper to a zinc-copper alloy in 2000. Because of this change, the 2000 penny holds a unique place in numismatic history. It's the last of the pre-zinc pennies, and collectors often gravitate toward it as a way to mark the end of an era. The fact that the 2000 penny is composed primarily of zinc, but still has that familiar copper sheen, gives it a special appeal to those who appreciate the evolution of American coinage. But the 2000 penny isn't just about its design or historical context, it's also about the thrill of discovery. For numismatists and coin enthusiasts, finding a rare or unusual coin is often like searching for buried treasure. And in the case of the 2000 penny, the thrill is no different. Whether it's an error coin like the close AM variety, a pristine example with minimal wear, or a coin with other distinguishing features, the search for the perfect 2000 penny is part of what makes the hobby so exciting. And while many 2000 pennies are worth just their face value, the right one in the right condition can quickly become a valuable asset. Over the years, as interest in coin collecting has surged, so has the value of these rare pennies. The 2000 close AM penny, for instance, has achieved impressive prices in the market. These coins, in mint condition, have sold for figures that most people would never imagine for such a small, simple coin. One of the most notable sales involved a close AM 2000 penny that fetched an astonishing $116,000. That's right, $116,000 for a single penny that most people would overlook in their daily change. This incredible price tag serves as a testament to the world of coin collecting and the way in which seemingly insignificant objects can become rare, valuable, and highly sought after. For those who are lucky enough to find a 2000 penny with a rare error or feature, it's not just about the money, it's about being part of a fascinating and vibrant community of collectors who are passionate about the history and the stories behind these coins. So, the next time you find a penny from 2000 in your change, don't dismiss it as just another low-value coin. Take a moment to examine it closely. You might just be holding onto a rare treasure that could be worth far more than a penny. The 2000 penny, with its history, design, and potential for incredible value, is a perfect example of how even the smallest, most common objects can hold surprising worth. In conclusion, the 2000 penny is far more than just a piece of currency, it's a piece of history, a collector's dream, and a reminder that, in the world of numismatics, the right coin at the right time can become a priceless treasure. The remarkable sale of the 2000 close AM penny for $116,000 is proof that sometimes, the smallest things can have the biggest impact. So keep an eye out for those pennies in your pocket, because you never know when one might turn into a fortune. The year 2002 might seem like just another year in a long string of dates, but for one small, seemingly insignificant coin, the humble 1-cent penny, it marks an interesting chapter in the world of American numismatics. You might look at a 2002 penny, toss it into a jar, or use it to pay for something in your local store, but little do most people know, this small coin holds within it a fascinating story of history, design, minting, and, ultimately, value. This penny, more than just a piece of currency, represents a turning point in the evolution of U.S. coinage. The 1-cent penny, with its familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front, has long been a staple of American currency. First introduced in 1793, the penny has undergone numerous changes throughout its history, from its early days with designs featuring symbols like the flying eagle and Indian head to the enduring Lincoln cent that has adorned the penny since 1909. By the time 2002 rolled around, the penny had already undergone significant changes, both in terms of its material composition and the design on its reverse side. But it was in 2002 that the U.S. Mint produced a coin that would ultimately surprise collectors, inspire curiosity, and even go on to fetch a hefty price in the numismatic market. Understanding the significance of the 2002 penny requires us to take a closer look at the context in which it was produced. By this time, the U.S. Mint had made a significant shift in the composition of the penny. In the early 1980s, the rising costs of copper led the mint to change the makeup of the penny, transitioning from a predominantly copper coin to a combination of zinc and copper. By 2002, the the penny was made up of 97.5% zinc and only 2.5% copper, which gave it a lighter weight and a different feel compared to its earlier copper-based counterparts. While many didn't notice the change in composition, this shift would have lasting effects on both the penny's design and its place in history. In 2002, the U.S. Mint was still using the familiar design featuring the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse of the coin. This design had been in place since 1959, when it replaced the earlier reverse design that featured two stalks of wheat. The Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Gasparo, has become a beloved symbol of American history, honoring the legacy of the 16th President of the United States. However, 2002 was significant in that it marked the final year for this particular design on the reverse of the penny. The next year, in 2003, would see the introduction of a new reverse design, one that celebrated the bicentennial of Abraham Lincoln's birth. While the changes to the design in 2003 were anticipated, collectors of the 2002 penny were still intrigued by the coin's final year of the Lincoln Memorial design. It was a coin that represented the end of an era and the beginning of something new. Little did they know, however, that some 2002 pennies would become highly sought after, coveted by numismatists and collectors alike. What makes these pennies particularly fascinating is not just their design or historical context, but the existence of some rare and unusual varieties that would later become valuable treasures. As with any mass-produced coin, there are always going to be certain rare varieties and minting errors that set certain pieces apart from the rest. The 2002 penny, like many other coins produced by the U.S. Mint, is no different. Some of these pennies, particularly those with minting errors, have become the subject of great interest within the numismatic community. These errors can range from small, barely noticeable differences to more pronounced mistakes that make a coin stand out as something truly special. The rarer the error, the higher the value it commands. One of the most notable varieties of the 2002 penny is the so-called 2002 close AM penny. To understand the significance of this variety, we need to look at the design of the reverse of the penny. On the reverse, you'll find the words E pluribus unum around the edge of the coin, and beneath that, the word America is inscribed. In most cases, the letters A and M in America are fairly close together. However, in some instances, the spacing between the A and M is much closer than usual, hence the term close AM. The error occurs when the die used to mint the coin wasn't aligned properly, causing these two letters to be struck much closer together than they should have been. The close AM error on the 2002 penny is highly sought after by collectors because it represents a mistake in the minting process. As a result, this variety is much rarer than the regular, non-error 2002 pennies. While the difference might seem small to the untrained eye, to a collector, it's a key feature that makes the coin stand out. Coins like this one, with minting errors, are valued not just for their rarity, but for the story they tell about the imperfections in the minting process. Every error coin is a glimpse into the history of how that particular piece of currency was created, and to a collector, it becomes an important piece of numismatic history. Now, you might be wondering how much a 2002 penny with this close AM error could actually be worth. While the vast majority of 2002 pennies are worth just 1 cent, the rare, close AM varieties have been known to sell for significantly higher prices. Depending on the condition of the coin, a 2002 close AM penny can fetch thousands of dollars in the marketplace. Coins in pristine condition, particularly those with the error and in high grades, can command even more impressive prices. In fact, some of the most well-preserved examples of this error have sold for as much as $110,000. Yes, you read that right. A single 2002 penny, originally worth just 1 cent, can now be worth $110,000 if it possesses the coveted close AM error. This incredible price tag highlights the allure of rare minting errors and the value placed on coins that tell a unique story. In the world of coin collecting, it's not always about the face value of the coin, it's about rarity, condition, and the historical significance that a particular piece carries with it. The incredible value of the 2002 close AM penny is a testament to the exciting world of numismatics and the unpredictability of coin collecting. What may seem like a trivial or insignificant coin to most people can, in reality, be a valuable treasure in the hands of the right collector. And for those lucky enough to find a 2002 penny with this rare error, it's a discovery that could change their life forever. But the story doesn't end there. The 2002 penny is a great example of how even the smallest and most commonplace objects can hold significant worth. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or just someone who happens to find an interesting penny in your pocket change, you might be holding on to something much more valuable than you realize. The 2002 penny, with its fascinating history and potential for rare varieties, is a perfect example of how a simple object can be transformed into a prized possession. As we reflect on the journey of the 2002 penny, it becomes clear that this coin holds much more than just historical significance. It serves as a reminder of how the seemingly insignificant can become valuable treasures, how small changes in design and minting can lead to great discoveries, and how the world of coin collecting is full of surprises. The 2002 penny, in all its glory, represents a unique moment in American numismatic history, and for collectors, it remains a symbol of the endless possibilities that exist within the world of coins. So, the next time you come across a penny, particularly a 2002 penny, take a moment to examine it closely. You never know, it might just be worth far more than you could have ever imagined. The 2002 penny, with its historical significance, potential errors, and impressive value, like the close AM variety, reminds us that even the smallest objects can sometimes hold the greatest value. For collectors, the thrill of discovery is what makes the pursuit of rare coins so exciting. And for the lucky few who own a 2002 penny with a rare minting error, the thrill of that discovery can lead to something truly extraordinary, a coin worth $110,000.